Hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you all. Welcome to the Institute of Global Professionals, where international training and consultations are offered for free. I am super excited to have you here. Excited about all the amazing conversations that we're going to have today. So let's embrace the new normal of learning that unites us all over the world with a common goal: learn and grow together. I am Juliet De La Torre, a proud core member of IGP from Cebu, Philippines, your host for this webinar. We are hoping that everyone will be associated with IGP as a global member. Please continue to be with us in all of our webinars. Check in IGP and recommend IGP to your friends and community, for I am sure you will learn from it. Each time, you can like and comment on our webinar, and don't forget to tag, share, and mention your friends and community, because we believe that power is gained by sharing knowledge, not by hoarding it. So before we'll start our program, let us learn more about IGP. Institute of Global Professionals is an educational institution that provides social work. We believe that it's not effective to increase one's skills just by acquiring formal education. So, we provide effective training and consultation to generate proficient generation all over the world. IGP becomes the leading online skill development institute in thousands of learners worldwide, and it is also an ISO certified. We recognized our we organized our webinar training, offline and online courses, by best of our trained speakers, coaches from all over the world, to create the best learning platform for all of you. We expect that all the webinars help you in your personal and professional growth, and we wish that you will stay with us till the end. And please, let me remind you again, do not forget to tag, share, and mention this to your friends, because your attachment encourages us to do better and provide quality services to all of you. Now let's start with our program with IGP's mantra: feed your skills, innovate, inspire, and impact. It is my honor and privilege to present to you all our 206th webinar entitled Competency Based Teaching, with the speakers Shermin Sunga and from Philippines, and Dr. Shelley Bish from India. So, everyone, viewers, let me introduce to you our first speaker, Mom Shermin Sunga from Philippines. Please give her a virtual applause or welcome her in the comment box.
Good
Hello, Mom.
evening.
Hello, Mom. Good evening. Please
Hi,
introduce
Ma'am
yourself, Mom.
Juliet.
Hi, Mom.
Yes, good evening, good day, good morning, good afternoon. My name is Shermaine Fernandez Sunga. I am a master teacher from the Tapinak Senior High School of the Schools Division Office, Olongapo City from DepEd, Philippines. And I am a graduate of Masters in Business Administration and Masters in Educational Administration.
Okay, thank you, Mom. The floor is yours. You can share now your screen, Mom, for our webinar tonight.
Thank you, ma'am.
Welcome, Mom.
Can you see my screen clearly now, ma'am?
Yes, Mom, I can see your screen.
Thank you.
Yes, welcome, Mom.
Okay, well, first and foremost, I would like to thank the Institute of Global Professionals for this opportunity to share a little of my know how about competency based teaching and learning. And with that, without further ado, let's start. Okay. Well, I believe that this quotation plays a big role in the lives of teachers, not only of the learners. It says that as every learner's ability and progress in learning is unique, not all learners progress at the same pace. Well, I hope everybody also agrees with me. Now, for our topic for this day, our objective is to define competency based learning, define collaborative learning and its concept, identify the benefits of collaborative learning, understand online collaborative learning, determine collaborative strategies and activities, and identify online application tools for collaborative learning. And if the time permits, I will also be discussing the art of questioning, which both of this, the collaborative learning and the art of questioning, plays a big role in competency based teaching and learning. In general, the general goal of competency based teaching is to ensure that students are acquiring the knowledge and skills that are deemed to be essential to success in school, higher education, careers, and adult life. If students fail to meet expected learning standards, they typically receive additional instructions, practice time, and academic support to help them achieve competency or meet expected standards. Now, what is competency based learning? It is a system of instruction, assessment, grading, and academic reporting that are based on students demonstrating that they have learned the knowledge and skills they are expected to learn as they progress through their education. That is from EdReform 2014. It is a system that provides in depth instruction that is later assessed and graded based on the student's demonstration of their learned knowledge and skill. Competency based learning begins with identifying specific competencies or skills and enables learners to develop mastery of each competency or skill at their own pace, usually working with a mentor. In some schools, competency based learning or teaching is most widely used at the elementary level. Although more middle schools and high schools are adopting the approach, as with any educational strategy, some competency based systems may be better designed, effective, and applicable than others. Now, uh, for this period, I have here the list of different competency based instructions. We have collaborative learning, art of questioning, blended learning, inquiry based, explicit teaching, project based, problem based. These are to name a few, but there are still a lot of competency based instructions available. But for this webinar, I will be delivering collaborative learning and, if time allows, also the art of questioning. Now, what is collaborative learning? Now, in the picture, it shows a group of learners discussing or answering a lecture together. This is an example of a collaborative learning. Students from different schools collaborating over the internet is also an example of collaborative learning. Now, what is collaborative learning? Let us take a look at the scholarly definitions of the respective persons. However, let us look first at what Benjamin Franklin says. And as I quote, "Tell me and I forget. Teach me and I remember. Involve me and I learn." Well, this falls true with collaborative learning. Now again, collaborative learning. Technically, collaborative learning is different from the traditional group work activity or team activity. It is more of encouraging active learning experiences, focusing together rather than simply delegating parts of a task. So it is a grouping and pairing of students for the purpose of achieving an academic goal. And it is commonly illustrated when groups of students work together to search for understanding, meaning, or solutions, or to create an artifact or product of their learning. Also, it is engaging individuals in interdependent learning activities, contributing ideas to the group and learning from one another, and student centered approach where students actively engage with both the material and other students in a meaningful way. Now, what then is the teacher's role in collaborative teaching or learning processes? The role of the teacher in this process is seen as critical from facilitating the process, providing appropriate resources and learner activities that encourage this kind of learning to ensure that the core concepts, practices, standards, and principles of the subject domain are fully integrated into the learning cycle. As what Gokhale mentioned, for collaborative learning to be effective, the instructor must view teaching as a process of developing and enhancing students' ability to learn. The instructor's role is not to transmit information, but to serve as a facilitator of learning. Facilitator for learning. Now, why should we use collaborative learning? Simply because, according to Gokhale, citing Vygotsky um, theory, students are capable of performing at higher intellectual levels when asked to work in collaborative situations than when asked to work individually. Group diversity in terms of knowledge and experience contributes positively to the learning process. Hence, the more active the group is, the more learning experiences occurs. Group interaction also helps students learn from each other's scholarship, skills, and experiences. Gokel reported that if the purpose of instruction is to enhance critical thinking and problem solving skills rather than gaining factual knowledge, that collaborative learning is more beneficial. And another reason why we should use CL, it's because collaborative learning has been shown to not only develop higher level thinking skills in students but boost their confidence and self-esteem as well. Group projects can maximize educational experience by demonstrating the material while improving social and interpersonal skills. And lastly, according to Nia, students learn how to work with various types of learners and develop their leadership skills. So, if we really want to develop or to harness a holistic growth and learning experience from our learner, collaborative learning is one of the best avenue to develop most of the skills necessary for each of the learners to take hold in their growth socially and in their progress in life. Now, what are the benefits of collaborative learning? We have it develops higher level thinking skills, as mentioned a while ago. It boosts students' confidence and self esteem as well. It improves social and interpersonal skills, develops their leadership skills, develops oral communication and self management, increases student retention, self esteem, and responsibility, exposes to and increases understanding of diverse perspectives, and prepares for real life social and employment situations. Now, what about with higher level thinking skills? Since the learner is mastering the competency in his own pace, his own curiosity will play a role in developing his higher level thinking skill. And it in and it is in vibe it in vibe, self-esteem, and confidence. Now, for the social and interpersonal leadership, oral communication, and self management skills, it is the byproduct of independent learning. When it comes to student and faculty interaction, mostly The explicit learning is a part of which it is guided by the mentor that provides the interaction more clearly, and the goal of the system or the objective of the program is met. Now, for mental retention, understanding of diverse perspective and preparation for real life and employment situation is the fruit of developing mastery of the competency. Now, the question is, or the next question would be, how are we going to implement or to use collaborative learning? First, if you have your students with you and you are aiming for a collaborative activity, it is very important that you introduce group or peer work early in the semester to set clear student expectations. Introduce is to inform what must be done and what is expected. Next, establish ground rules for participation and contributions. Here you're going to set policies or rules that are must to be followed for proper coordination. Next, you have to plan for each stage of group work. Every step to be accomplished must be well planned and properly scheduled for all the groups and for all the members of the group to work accordingly. Next, we have to, or as a teacher, you have to carefully explain to your students how groups or peer discussion will operate and how students will be graded. Instructions must be clearly given as well as the assessment or grading rubrics for students' accommodation and understanding. It also helps students develop and skills, I mean, rather help students develop the skills they need to succeed, such as using team building exercises or introducing self-reflection techniques. Also, to incorporate self-assessment and peer assessment for group members to evaluate their own and others' contributions. Once all of these are established, it is very important that the learners are aware of the self and peer assessment because this offers the learners accountability and ownership of their performance. So, all of this, when followed, it will implement it I mean the collaborative learning activity or project will be implemented with a definite structure that will enable the student to be accountable in all of their uh, performance or part in the activity. Other than the collaborative learning, this pandemic or even before the pandemic, online collaborative learning has already been introduced. In the onset of um, the use of the technology, online collaborative learning is already there. OCL, or the online collaborative learning, builds on and integrates theories of cognitive development that focus on conversational learning, learning conditions for deep learning, development of academic knowledge, and knowledge construction. So it has been introduced along with the emergence of the internet, and this pandemic brought it more. I mean, the online collaborative learning was brought more into life by the pandemic with the no face-to-face school setting in some schools worldwide. And most of the teachers are now um, grasping grasping the the new normal of education with the use of online collaborative learning. Now, OCL theory provides a model of learning in which students are encouraged and supported to work together to create knowledge. When we say to create knowledge, It has something to do with to invent, to explore ways to innovate, and by so doing, to seek the conceptual knowledge needed to solve problems rather than recite what they think is the right answer. So when we say OCL or online collaborative learning, it is synonymous with the basic or the traditional collaborative learning. However, with the term online, it introduces the use of the technology. In OCL theory, the teacher plays a key role not as a fellow learner, but as the link to the knowledge community or state of the art in that discipline. According to Harasim, the one who introduced the online collaborative learning theory. So it is Harasim that took the online collaborative theory to its proliferation. And this is how described OCL theory. According to Harasim emphasizes the importance of three key phases of knowledge construction through discourse, and these are idea generating. In idea generating, this is literally brainstorming. Its purpose is to collect the divergent thinking within a group. And the next is the idea organizing. This is where learners compare, analyze, and categorize the different ideas previously generated again through discussion and argument. And the last one is the intellectual convergence, where the aim is to reach a level of intellectual synthesis, understanding, and consensus, including agreeing to disagree, usually through the joint construction of some artifact or piece of work such as an essay or assignment. Now, with this, after clearly differentiating the online collaborative learning and the traditional collaborative learning, let us now proceed with the different examples of collaborative learning strategies or activities. Once we have our students already grouped, or once we have already given a set of program or project for them to accomplish within the semester, this is how uh, we can use or we can invite the students to use these activities or these strategies, and this is also where we springboard with the activity. First, we have the jigsaw technique. The jigsaw technique builds on one of the most effective ways to process and retain information. Well, this has been used long before. This has something to do with teaching others. Here, you may ask a student to learn a piece, then share it to everyone in the group, or give each members in the group their particular role or part to accomplish. Another strategy is the think, pair, and share technique. The students work together in pairs to analyze, evaluate, or synthesize a topic and then share with the rest of the class their findings. So that's why it's think, pair, and share. The next is brainwriting. Here, students are encouraged to generate ideas before a discussion while ensuring that everyone has a chance for thoughtful participation. Another is the daily discussion question. Here is an online discussion boards, which is one of or among the simplest ways to facilitate student engagement while enhancing the learning process. Posting daily or weekly discussion questions to encourage students to think about the course materials in new ways. Next, we have the breakout group discussions, which most of the Meet applications we have available nowadays are capable of. So segmenting, here you segment your class into smaller breakout groups to make sure everyone has a voice. And that is what breakout group discussion is all about. It's where they can share, it's where they can do the think, pair, share as well. And then the next one is the peer review, where students review each other's work to make sure each student benefits from individual feedback and attention, even in a large group. The last one is the scaffolding. The instructional scaffolding has been practiced long before. It is a learning strategy where you build harder concepts on top of simpler ones, providing examples, setting guidelines, and doing trial together as a class. Now, these are only some of the few learning strategies or activities that can be used in collaborative learning, where when a teacher mastered one of these all of this, it can be uh it can enhance learning experiences to students in different projects or different programs at hand. It also supports the building of self-confidence, accountability, and responsibility and ownership from the learners. Now, with the onset of the online application for online collaborative learning, we have we have also the following. We have the peer teaching strategy, the group program management, group researches or thesis writing, computer medi- computer mediated collaboration, technology enhanced writing platforms, web-based collaborative writing. So these are strategies that we can use with the presence of ICT devices and online applications to aid in the implementation of the activities for enhanced collaborative learning experience. Well, this slide and the previous slide showing strategies can both be utilized using ICT platforms as part of innovative ways for the learners to collaborate with each other. Now, from this slide, the following are some of the online platforms that are available for online and or offline collaborations. The first one at hand is the Google Jamboard. Well, most of you are probably familiar with Google Jamboard. Google Jamboard is a digital whiteboard that allows for remote or in person collaboration on a shared space. Students or colleagues can sketch out ideas, solve problems, or draw collaboratively and synchronously. Then the next application is, online platform is Padlet. Padlet is a free online tool that is best described as an online notice board. Padlet can be used by students and teachers to post notes on a common page. The notes posted by teachers and students can contain links, videos, images, and document files. Then the next one is Wakelet. It is a tool that allows users to take control of the content that interests and inspires them. Wakelet is a great alternative to Padlet or Storyfy. You and your students can curate videos, images, links, and more. Next is also Adobe Sparks. It is the integrated web and mobile solution that enables everyone, especially teachers and their students, to easily create and share impactful visual stories. And the next one is the Google Slides. It is an online presentation app that lets you create and format presentations and work with other people. And next is we have the Book Creator. Well, reading responses can take many form, and Book Creator gives you as the teacher the space to set up students for success with this application. You can tailor ideas to both collaborative and independent student products and scale each one to make sure it meets the needs of your students. The last one is the MS Way. It is an app within Microsoft 365 that can be used in education to help teachers and pupils express ideas using an interactive web-based canvas. Well, these are only some of the online apps for online collaborative learning, which you can also use and at the same time learn more and um, make the collaborative learning experience worthwhile and meaningful to your learners, whether they are in their elementary level, junior or senior high levels. They can manipulate and they can learn more collaboratively with these online apps. There are many more, but these are few of those that I find helpful and are for me user friendly, easily manipulated, that can provide both the teacher and the learner the teaching and learning performance needed for a collaborative learning experience. Now, in conclusion, greatest learnings are gained through structured approaches supported with effective collaborative learning strategies that requires more than just grouping students together. Learning activities by groups are designed so that student collaboration is required in accomplishing a given task effectively. And this includes sharing roles, responsibilities, accountability, and ownership of outcomes. Collaborative learning could be in peer to peer or large groups, similar to the idea that two or three heads are better than one. In peer instruction, students learn Students learn more as they teach each other or addressing misunderstandings and clarifying misconceptions. Hence, learning collaboratively demands responsibility, patience, and persistence, with the result of active and critical students that want to participate and grow. And that ends collaborative learning. And let me share this quotation. The true strength in our classroom lies in the collaboration of learners, not in the knowledge of one expert. The best collaborations create something bigger than the sum of what each person can create on their own. And that ends collaborative learning. And if the host allows, I may continue with the art of questioning. Do I have more time, Miss Juliet? Well, if my time allows.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Do I still have time po to continue with my next topic, or is my time
It's okay, ma'am. You can continue that, ma'am.
okay po? Thank you. Now with that, I will be moving on with the art of questioning. Actually, it's the art of questioning that plays a big role in all of the in all of the competency-based teaching we have uh, in our classroom setting. Without the art of questioning, it would be very difficult for everyone to really encourage learning and deeper understanding from our students, from our learners. Now, to start, let me give you this quotation from Chip Bell. Effective questioning brings insight, which fuels curiosity, which cultivates wisdom. And I can never agree more. For our objective, first is to learn effective questioning and its concept, determine the importance of questioning and its benefits, understand the art of questioning according to Bloom's taxonomy. Now, what then is the art of questioning? Questioning skills are very important for a teacher, and it's very complex. If these skills are used effectively, the performance level of students will increase, and the teaching and learning environment will become more active and more encouraging. Classroom teaching practices must be well planned. Planning includes questioning, which is an indicator of teaching performance effectiveness. The skills in giving questions should focus on giving open-ended questions for the learners to reflect and respond. Advanced preparation for questions or series of questions is an advantage. Questions must be prepared in advance and later tweaked according to the situation to ensure they serve the purpose and are aligned with lesson goals. Now, what is effective questioning? Effective questioning involves using questions in the classroom, online or virtual classroom to start a conversation. Also, it inspires deeper intellectual thought and promotes student to student interaction, focuses on eliciting the process, creates opportunities for students to analyze their own thinking, that of their peers, and their works. Effective questions focus on the how and why as opposed to answers that details what. Questioning skills used in the classroom creates opportunities for students to analyze their thinking, that of their peers. All learning begins with questions, and the way we ask question and model questioning for our learners defines their quality of learning. Without providing meaningful questions, learning is lost. And if learning is the answer, then what is the question? Now, what is the importance of questioning? Questions reveal interest. We ask questions when something catches our attention, surprises us, or when we hear something we want more information about. Asking almost any question is a clear signal that someone is paying attention. Asking is great. Asking a great question that's even more useful. Next is questions reveal gaps in and strength of understanding. As teachers, we know that not everything is understood readily the first time. In fact, it makes our job a lot easier when we ask a question that can clarify a misunderstanding or explain something in a better way. Questions improve recall. Research shows that when you ask a question yourself, you are more likely to remember the information you receive. It makes sense. You are likely asking about something that is interesting or relevant to you, and by asking the question, you become personally invested in the answer. Next, importance is that questions keep learners engaged. A question can take a lesson in which the teacher is doing the talking to a discussion, that is, bringing up questions that others might have and making students personally engage in the topic or activity. Questions need students. And the last is that questions build a foundation for new knowledge. Any subject or topic started out with broad foundational information forms the basis for more in-depth or specific knowledge. Example, a basic understanding of how plants grow is essential to the discussion on of how desert plants differ from those growing in the rainforest. Now, why do we ask questions? We ask questions because it provides insight into what our learners think and know already. It reveals personal connections, which become opportunities to personalize learning. It encourages collaboration and conversation where exchange of ideas are accepted and encouraged. It encourages creative self expression. It encourages deep self reflection. It helps us rethink assumptions and consider alternatives. And it leads to big ideas. Now, addition to that, questioning boosts self-confidence. It also establishes trust. Once you answered the learner's inquiry or you were able to pose questions, the learners can grasp that they can trust you with their answers. Exercise your memory. As mentioned a while ago, the more you pose questions, the more it retains the information you have. And then it develop oral communication skills. It's self-expression. It protect us from making mistakes, encourage a growth mindset, make more work productive, make solutions more effective. Ayun, that's it. It makes solutions more effective. Now, what then are the benefits of effective questioning? It encourages students to engage with their work and each other. So this also be could happen. The exchange and the engagement can be visible in a collaborative learning as well, and other competency-based teaching strategies or instructions. It helps students to think out loud. It facilitates learning through active discussion with exchange of ideas, empowers students to feel confident about their ideas, improves speaking and listening skills, builds critical thinking skills, teaches respect for other people's opinions, helps students to clarify their understanding, motivates students and develops an interest of a topic, and it also allows teachers to check students' understanding. So these are some of the benefits of effective questioning, which are ideally enhances clarity, enhances uh, confirmation, affirmation of the lesson given and learned. Now, what are the categories of questions? We have the low level and the high level. In the low level, we have the uh, lower cognitive questions or the convergent or closed questions. And these are evaluating students' preparation, or some of these questions evaluates students' preparation and comprehension, diagnoses students' strengths and weaknesses, and reviews or summarizes content. Usually, the low level requires memory recall of previously learned information. There is often only one right or wrong answer, such as when was the Battle of Edge Hill? The only answer to this is October 1642. While on the other end, the high level category or the higher cognitive question, it is the divergent or open question. Again, the low level is the convergent questions, and while the high level is the divergent questions. This requires students to analyze information and apply their knowledge. So it encourages students to think more deeply and critically, to solve problems, encourage discussion, and stimulate students to seek information on their own. An example of this would be the question, what were the consequences of the Battle of Edge Hill? There could be a range of possible answers to this question, but they would all require the students to think and engage with the learning. Now, the next question is, what kinds of questions should we ask? All teaching and learning lie in the art of questioning. Questioning is the basis of teaching task. It encourages recalling, deepens learning comprehension, promotes problem solving, satisfies curiosity, and increases creativity. And from this, we will visit the Bloom's taxonomy of critical thinking skills, where it is widely used for constructing questions, particularly the higher order questions. Bloom classifies thinking into six categories. We have here remembering the lowest, from the lowest part, then understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating, and creating. The taxonomy is introduced as a tool which is helpful for defining the kinds of thinking skills instructors expect from students, and for helping to establish congruence between the instructor's goals and the questions he or she asks. As teachers who are committed to fostering student curiosity and thinking, it is our job to ensure that we are providing opportunities for students to think about and answer a range of questions, particularly higher order questions. Students also need to learn how to ask questions, both of themselves as they are learning and of the ideas that they are learning about. The following continuum of thinking skills can be a useful prompt to help teachers and students scaffold a range of different questions throughout the inquiry process. Now, the following slide is a Bloom's taxonomy of critical thinking skills, where it shows the lower level or the lower order questioning and the higher order questioning. When students are set to answer a question, they begin to construct ideas, apply knowledge, absorb new information, and demonstrate understanding. Hence, utilizing higher order questioning enables students to convert information to knowledge and move from knowledge acquisition to knowledge application. Now, let us take a look at the different questions stemming on each categories of Bloom's taxonomy. So we have the knowledge or the remember level, the remembering level. Here is where the learner is able to recall, restate, or remember learned information. It has something to do with recognizing, listing, describing, identifying, retrieving, naming, locating, and finding. Questions starting with what, where, when, why, and how, whose answers could be retrieved, recognized, and recalled from the text or on the lines of the text thread, fall under remembering. So these are some of the questions as you can see from the presentation. So those are the basic questions under remembering level. The next level, or the next order, we have the comprehension or the understanding. The learner grasps the meaning of information by interpreting the and translating what has been learned under this level. It has something to do with explaining ideas and concepts. Here, students interpret, exemplifies, or summarize, infers or paraphrase, classifies, compares, and explains. Well, questions under level two or under comprehension can be, can you explain why? Can you write in your own words? How would you explain? Can you write a brief outline? What do you think could have happened next? Who do you think? Can you clarify? So those are some of the questions you can give your learners. And on the third level, the application, this is now part of the higher order questioning. This is about the using the information in another familiar situation. That's why it is termed application or applying. The learner makes use of information in a context different from the one that it was learned. So about implementing or carrying out, using, executing, and the questions on this level could be in such as, put yourself in the place of one of the characters and tell what you would have done. Another is, what questions would you to find out if, or how would the character solve the similar situation of, Or if you had to plan a vacation for the main character, where would they go? So it's simply more of the student putting themselves on uh, the situation and learning to apply what they think is the best, or the one fitting the situation. And the next level, we have the analyzing. It is breaking down into parts or form. It is where the learner breaks learned information into its parts, determining how the parts relate or interrelate to one another to an overall structure or purpose through differentiating, organizing, and attributing. Questions from this could be, um, how is blank related to? What is the relationship between? What generalizations can be made about? What assumptions do you make about? Or what conclusions can you draw about? Such as those questions. And then for the level 5, we have the synthesis or the evaluating. Here it involves the making of personal judgment on the text by the reader, usually based on his or her experience. This is also where the evaluation of accuracy is given, and discrimination of fact and opinion is presented, recognition of emotionally charged words, and identification of author's purpose, mood, tone, intent. And it is also the evaluation of values. Questions from this could be, compared to characters in the selection, which was a better person? Why? Or do you agree with the actions of blank? Or how would you explain? Would it be better if? So those are some of the questions. Or um, what data was used to make the conclusion? Okay, so such as those. And then the last one, we have the last level is the um, evaluation. It has something to do with, or wait, yeah. So this is the evaluation. We have, oh, I think I interchanged them. Synthesis, analyzing. Oh yes, I'm in level 5 now. Sorry. It involves the making of personal judgment on the text by the reader. So, yes. So that I mentioned that under the analyzing. So my wrong, my mistake. So going back with analyzing, we have here's the synthesis. It is where the learner breaks learned information into its parts. Yes, and yeah, we're done. And with that, to conclude, asking meaningful questions gives our learners permission to be curious and creative. They get to think and question in a way that helps them become better thinkers. They also get to strive for deeper knowledge and meaningful answers. And best of all, they receive ample opportunities to grow in mind, body, and spirit. As Cotton in 2001 states that instruction, which includes posing questions, is more effective in producing achievement gains than instruction carried out without questioning students. So, with that, I'll be leaving you this quotation from Clayton Christensen. He says, without a good question, a good answer has no place to go. And that which I agree, as well as with Albert Einstein. Quote, to quote him, he said, most teachers waste their time by asking questions which are intended to discover what a pupil does not know, whereas the true art of questioning has for its purpose to discover what pupils knows or is capable of knowing. With that, I end my presentation, Miss Juliet, and these are my references. Thank you and
Okay.
God bless.
Thank you so much, Ma'am Sunga from Philippines. Thank you for the very informative information you have shared to us. So I think as teachers, collaborative learning is very important because we need the students to be more active, and we need to be the activities that we're going to use should be appropriate for them, and we need them to shall we say, involve in every time that we're going to give activities, because every learner is unique. So again, ma'am, thank you so much, and
Thank you.
we will be have you right back on the Q&A.
Thank
Okay,
you.
so at this moment, before moving to our next speaker, once again, I want to remind you all to please support us with your share, tag, comment, and mention your friends. And then for your certificate, just click the given link pinned in the comment box or directly log into www.eduigp.com. You will need a code to collect your e-certificate, which will be shared only after our live broadcast. And after collecting your e-certificate, do not forget to celebrate with IGP by checking in, and recommend IGP with your friends and community. Together, let's explore, learn, and grow with IGP webinar training. So, at this juncture, without so much ado, let's welcome to our next speaker, Dr. Shelley Best from India. Hi, Ma'am Shelley. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to IGP.
Good evening, Juliet. It's such a pleasure to be here at
Yes,
IGP.
nice to meet you.
And first of all, I want to wish each one of you a happy World's Teachers' Day.
Yeah,
Being
thank
an
you, ma'am.
educator, it's a jubilation. It's a jubilation in the entire world
Yeah.
to celebrate, the World Teachers' Day. So it's such a delight that I'm speaking on such an auspicious occasion on IGP.
Yes, yes. Happy
And
World Teachers Day to everyone, especially the viewers. And Mom Shelley, would you please introduce yourself to our viewers
yeah,
before
yeah,
you will
sure.
proceed with your presentation?
Yes. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is Dr. Shelley from India. I'm an educator, international speaker, and host, writer, and social activist. And if you talk about my objective, I built a long term and stable career in teaching, utilizing my educational credentials and teaching abilities acquired through 21 years of dedicated services in the educational field. I consider myself as a passionate, dynamic, enthusiastic, creative nation builder with more than 2 decades of experience, with a zeal to foster holistic education and learning to children of senior secondary school. I want to utilize my dedication to foster quality education required for a child's development. I want to develop and promote creativity and high order thinking skills that increase the performance of the student. I want to offer endless opportunities for career growth and to keep up with cutting edge educational technologies. I would like to leverage my extrovert and dynamic approach in teaching students. With my great administrative and coordination skill, I would work to perform organizational tasks and duties. So, I'm a qualified and resourceful educator with a proven knowledge of educational technology, blended online learning, and curriculum design. I've been appointed as a result committee member of CBSE Class 12 for year 2020-21 and the CBSE Observer for the board practicals of Class 12 2020-21. I'm associated with many educational forums and I am a multi awardee too. So I keep on working for the students and for their all noble cause. And I'm appointed as a CEO at the World Peace and also National President Women's Wing at Remata Mustafa Social Welfare Trust. So I believe that whatever we are doing today, that is for the noble cause of the children worldwide. So this was a short introduction of mine, and I think the topic which I have taken today, that is the competency based teaching, will be justified. So, August gathering, a wonderful evening to all of you present over here. And what I feel, competency based learning and teaching is an approach to education worldwide. It is a demonstration of desired learning outcomes as central to the learning process. It is concerned chiefly with the student's progression through curriculum at their own pace, depth, etc. As competencies are proven, students continue to progress. It is similar to mastery based learning, with the primary difference being that competency based learning often focuses on observable skills or competency, while mastery learning may be academic, as likely to focus on concepts as skills. Like most things education related, there is disagreement of what competency based learning actually means, what its defining traits are, and how it should ideally be used or function. It is traditionally thought of in terms of skills and vocation, but it can be entirely academic as well. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I would want to tell you the characteristics of competency based learning. A key characteristics of this type of learning is its focus on mastery. In other learning models, students are exposed to content, whether skills or concepts over time, and success is measured summatively. In a competency based learning system, students are not allowed to continue until they have demonstrated mastery of the identified competencies, that is, the desired learning outcomes to be demonstrated. So, in this way, the definition of competency based learning is closely tied to mastery learning. Competency based learning is similar to outcomes based learning in that said outcomes in the scales called competencies are identified beforehand and students are frequently assessed. In this way, competency based learning can be thought of as a form of outcome based learning, which is very, very important. But here I would like to tell you the pros and cons of competency based learning. Its effectiveness, of course, depends on the ecology it is embedded in. In a system with deep and diverse support systems, robust assessment forms, and clear and manageable learning outcomes that are accessible to all learners, competency based learning can be an effective model potentially reducing inefficiency, including time spent learning, and increasing pedagogical precision and student achievement. Its strengths lie in its flexibility, as learners are able to move at their own pace. This supports students with diverse knowledge backgrounds, literacy levels, and other related aptitudes. Its challenges should sound familiar to most educators, including the difficulty in identifying and agreeing upon the most important competencies, how to best assess them, and how to support learners that struggle. On paper, technology adds a new wrinkle to competency based learning as it provides students with access to content to develop said competencies. If every student can access the same content the teacher does, there is less of a need for the class to move together, and students are able to prove their understanding on more personal and authentic terms. Skills connected to critical and creative thinking, problem solving, collaboration, and communication are core to successful living in 21st century. Competency is a set of skills, abilities, knowledge that helps an individual perform a given task in real life. Every learning should go into the imbibing of skills that will help the individual person task or take actions to lead a productive and joyful life. The task could be as simple as going out to buy groceries or as complex as flying a plane. Each of such tasks require a set of skills, abilities, knowledge, and even attitudes to be able to perform the task at hand effectively and efficiently. For buying groceries, the learner should be able to navigate the route to the grocery store or on a map, prepare list of purchases to be made, estimate the expenditure, locate the items in the store, pay the bills, check that the total mentioned in the bill is correct and the list matches the actual purchases. Several competencies are required here to succeed, and all these competencies or skill sets should also be acquired in the process of learning or schooling. Only then school education would be considered effective and fruitful. Competency based learning or competency based education is an outcome based approach to education to ensure proficiency in learning by students through demonstration of the knowledge, skills, values, and attitudes required for dealing with real life situations and the age and grade appropriate level. Now, competency based education and learning outcomes. Now, to understand the relationship between these, we need to discuss the points. Now, what points are those? First, what is it that the student should be able to do after student has undergone the learning process? Demonstrate the outcome of learning or learning outcome. Second, what is it that the student needs to learn? No, in order to demonstrate that particular set of learning outcomes, that is curriculum. Third, what are classroom transactions, activities that will become the basis for this kind of defined outcome of learning? That is pedagogy. Now, how will the teacher check the learning or how will the student demonstrate that learning? That is known as assessment. How will teacher know at what level of learning the student is? Criterion referenced testing. What is the sum total of learning outcomes? Curriculum, pedagogy, assessment, and criterion reference testing as mentioned here. That is what competency based education. Now, what are the characteristics of this competency based education mode? Now, let me discuss the objectives behind it. What are the objectives? To follow a more practical and professional approach where, first of all, predefined, real life based, application oriented competencies are defined. Second, to ensure attainment of competency through precise, measurable learning outcomes in behavioral terms. And third, to go beyond mere accumulation of knowledge from textbooks and tests to enable students to practice acquired competencies in their daily life. Second important thing I want to discuss is content. Competency based education focuses on minimum required core content. It specifically defines competencies to be attained after a certain time interval in which a specific part of the curriculum has been covered. Now, it is contrary to traditional learning approach which keeps increasing the content by following the inconsistent principles: greater the content, greater the achievement of the student, because this is how usually the papers are checked on a broader level I'm talking about. Now, if I want to discuss now about pedagogy, now what is this? Pedagogical processes are child centric and inclusive in nature as the focus is on individual achievement. Interdisciplinary instructions, including scholastics as well as co scholastics areas such as arts, storytelling, sports, work education, and seva. Collaborative learning, cooperative learning, reciprocal teaching, discussions, group projects, peer tutoring, blended learning with integration of ICT, that here I'm talking about the flipped classrooms, computational learning based on logical reasoning, decomposition, patterns, experiential learning, problem based learning, games, case studies, simulations, portfolios, presentations, projects are the main teaching learning processes under this approach. Now, the idea is to support students' ability to become an independent, self reliant, and lifelong learner by using a variety of interactive methods. Pedagogies also take care of individual differences of students, issues, a social nature of learning, and present challenges in a graded manner to make learning child centered. Now, how do we assess it? What is it all about? The assessment criterion reference assessments that measure the attainment of learning outcomes are essential feature of CBE. It involves objective as well as performance assessments. Objective assessment have predetermined correct responses items like MCQ, oral responses to questions, and short answer written responses based on what students know and know how to do. In performance assessments, focus remains on what learners can do with their knowledge, involving assessments of critical thinking, synthesis, and effective and psychomotor skills. Reporting of assessment result is done on the basis of rubrics, and students must be able to demonstrate required level of competency in order to progress to higher grades. Now, concepts should be there and suggestions should be there for the success of CBE. As proper framing of learning outcomes and linking things with pedagogical processes is crucial to the success of CBE, attention is drawn for certain concepts and suggestions. Now, what are those concepts and suggestions that I want to discuss with all of you present over here? These are formal statements that tell us what a student is able to do after learning a given topic or concept. The learning described in outcomes should encompass the essential and significant knowledge and skills students should develop in a course. Now, in this process, they generalize their learning and integrate it with other areas of their lives outside school. This helps them learn concept in a more focused and meaningful way. Now, LO should be a clear and concise statement of the skills that the students will be able to demonstrate after the instruction is over. It should be observable and measurable and clearly understood by all stakeholders. For an example, students, parents, and teachers. They delineate not only the cognitive achievement but also the values, life skills, and attitudes students would demonstrate at the end of a unit. Now, learning outcomes provide opportunity for teachers to reflect on the curriculum, context of learning, content, application, and assessment to be designed for ensuring the achievement of desirable degree of learning outcomes. Thus, learning outcomes are extremely important tool for students, teachers, parents, administrators, and policymakers. Teachers need to use learning outcomes as a tool for improving education, not as an end in itself. Now, let me discuss about the writing learning outcomes on the basis of the framework which is provided by NCERT. A complete learning outcome will consist of what? An observable behavior or an action verb or any special condition for displaying the outcome. Action verb denotes the intended domain in the taxonomy of cognitive domain and focuses on cognitive processes operating on different kinds of knowledge dimensions like factual, it can be procedural, it can be conceptual, and it can be metacognitive. Now, after the action verb comes subject content for which the action is being taken, followed by explicit level of achievement, if not implicit, and condition of performance if required. So, the performance level considered sufficient to demonstrate mastery. Test items prepared and matched to the learning outcomes assembled before starting instructions. So LOs usually have the following features. First of all, unambiguous language, behaviorable activity, measurable outcomes with desired performance criteria, linked to teaching learning methods, assessment and evaluation aligned with overall competency mentioned in the framework developed by NCERT. Now, NCRT learning outcomes documents. Now, what is it? The learning outcomes documents developed by NCRT define the learning outcomes competencies in all the curricular areas, linking them with the curricular expectation and the pedagogical processes. The defined learning outcomes can easily be adopted or adapted by schools. In fact, CBSE very strongly advises the adaptation of learning outcomes developed by NCRT for grades 1 to 10 to all its affiliated schools. I am following it. Now, suggestive pedagogical strategies for achievements of the learning outcomes. Knowledge of LOs paves way to self assessment by students who would learn to compare their achievement against the stated outcomes instead of comparing them with their peers. This would also help them to internalize the learning outcomes. Therefore, what the teacher should do? The teachers may communicate the learning outcomes in as unambiguous way as possible to students at the start of a lesson. Now use LO as advanced organizers and ask students to paraphrase them in order to get complete understanding of their meaning. Work out the instructional activities, pedagogies, and assessments most likely to ensure that the stated outcome of learning is achieved. Plan lessons by selecting and arranging developmentally appropriate content and process while taking care of social and emotional context and varying learning styles, aptitudes, and abilities of students. Now, use techniques like collaborative learning, problem solving, and others mentioned above under the characteristics of assessment, as well as connect the classroom, lab, and experiential activities to requirements of the desired level of learning. The most important aspect of the whole learning process is that the learner at every level, for every subject, for every topic, should be able to connect all learnings to real life practice, facilitate experiences that advance students' critical thinking and creativity. Use technology to relate local and global societal issues and responsibilities with the curricular context. Make use of resources available at Diksha platform in this reference and continuously improve professional capacity by researching and participating in various capacity building programs. Now, what are those suggestive assessment practices to gauge achievement of LOs? Performance in CV is always seen as given criterion or standard of performance. It can be integrated with assessment for learning and assessment as learning. Some of the features of assessment of LOs could be assessment must be authentic. That is, it requires application of knowledge and skills to real world problems and demand decision making to determine optimum use of knowledge and skills in a given situation. Necessarily match with the learning outcomes cited in the beginning, be reliable, valid, and based on critical and creative thinking. Assess ability to integrate knowledge, skills, and attitudes. A balance between assessment for, as, and of learning should be maintained for optimum results and minimum stress on students. Now, multiple methods of assessment like portfolios, questions, MCQs, short questions, and long answer problems, reflective assignments involving measurement of capacity to analyze and evaluate experience in the light of theories and research evidence. Rubrics must be shared with students prior to the test. Now, I think, for an example, if I talk about certain cartoon series, now these cartoon series are also a source of joyful reading. Now, to focus on the importance of these competencies, now what the Central Board of Secondary Education, in collaboration with Central Square Foundation New Delhi, is bringing out two cartoon series, namely Cognito and the Question Book, to promote them through joyful reading. Now, in Cognito, the conversation between Ankit and Ankita explores how to know the truth of something, learning and understanding the process of problem solving and recognizing its pattern is a lifelong activity and a skill that can be applied both in personal and professional lives. Now, in the other series, the question book, Ankita and Ankit have discussed the process of problem solving. Now, the competency based education approach allows students to advance based on their ability to master a skill or competency at their own pace, regardless of environment. Now, this method is tailored to meet different learning abilities and can lead to more efficient student outcomes. Competency based learning empowers learners to focus on mastery of valuable skills and knowledge and learn at their own pace. Now, this seems like a straightforward statement, but what does it mean in practice? Our competency based education lexicon, developed in collaboration with the American Council on Education, helps chart the landscape of terms and concepts. Now, how do we apply these concepts? First, why do stakeholders in all educational ecosystems care about changing their practices to incorporate competency based learning? Part of the impetus comes from learner centric shifts in education driven by social and economic pressures. There is also a growing realization that educational practices need to change to effectively focus on learning. And there are also potential benefits fundamental to the long term success of our educational institutions. Now, practical benefits of competency based education. What is it? First, efficient and potentially lower cost degree or credential options for students. Second, greater understanding of learning outcomes throughout the academic institutions. Third, courses, learning resources, and assessment aligned to well defined goals. Fourth, motivated and engaged students. Fifth, increased student retention and completion rates, particularly when prior learning can be applied to degree progress. Next, learners' improved ability to recognize, manage, and continuously build upon their own competencies and evidence of learning. Now, employers improved ability to understand graduate competencies and learning achievements. Outcome based framework for continuous improvement at course, program, and institutional levels. Now, how do we achieve these benefits? Blackboard has been analyzing competency based education models, practices, policies, and trends through independent research and now in joint competency based education research with American Council on Education. One obvious point verified by the research is that competency based education approaches are already diverse and are continuing to evolve through the work of initiatives defining effective models. But another clear finding is that different approaches share the common characteristics of being learner centric, outcome based, and differentiated. So, these characteristics help us understand competency based education in practice. Now, we also found out that competency based education practices do not need to be dramatic or disruptive. Many effective approaches incorporate competency based learning processes into existing course and curriculum structure. In fact, one of the reasons why there are so many different approaches is because educational institutions adapt competency based learning to achieve their own goals. Competency based learning doesn't happen in a vacuum, nor does it need to be reviewed as something outside or counter to our educational traditions and values. You know, this learning can be valuable for all of the stakeholders in our learning communities. Learners have more opportunities to take ownership of their learning and expand their lifelong learning pathways. Faculty grow professionally as they articulate the learning outcomes in the areas of expertise and embedded them in rich learning experiences. Academic leaders provide engaging curricula that advance knowledge and produce graduates who can demonstrate what they have learned. And institutional leaders focus on new ways of identifying barriers to success and achieving improved outcomes. Now, what are the key characteristics? Now, this is very, very important. First, I want to discuss about the learner centric. First and foremost, competency based learning focuses on the learner as an individual. It provides opportunities for each individual to develop skills at their own pace, collaborate with others, collect evidence of learning, and become successful lifelong learners. Competency based learning empowers learners to what? First point, understand the competencies they need to master to achieve their goals. Second, progress through learning processes without time constraints. Third, explore diverse learning opportunities. Fourth, collaborate in learning activities with communities of peers and mentors. Next, create learning artifacts that represent their competencies. Next, reflect on their own learning achievements. See what they have mastered, what they still need to accomplish, and where to improve. Develop an online academic identity, including the ability to manage competencies and portable evidence of learning from multiple sources. The second most important characteristics which I want to discuss with you all is outcome based. Now, competency based learning starts with well defined learning outcomes. Structure for competency based learning comes from creating, managing, and aligning sets of competencies to learning resources, assessment, and rubrics with analytics to track performance. Focusing on outcome empowers faculty and academics leaders to first point, develop robust sets of learning outcomes and competencies. Second, reorient curricular design to start with learning outcomes rather than starting with time and term structures. Build high quality, shareable resources, assessments, and rubrics designed to support learning outcomes. Next, foster authentic assessment that includes demonstrated mastery of competencies. Effectively identify risk in students' progress towards learning achievements and provide appropriate interventions. Support transparent analysis of learning outcomes at every level of the institution. Achieve short term and long term academic performance improvements focused on outcomes rather than inputs. And the last thing which I want to talk about, the last key characteristic that is differentiated. Now, differentiation. It refers to competency based learning practices that recognizes and adjusts to meet the needs of individual learners. Differentiation is multifaceted and applies to learner support, communication, and intervention, as well as learning processes. For an example, prescriptive or diagnostic, providing different learning materials or assessment to learners based on what they have already mastered. Second is affiliation. Learners receive different materials or delivery based on their relationship to the curriculum or program in cohorts or groups. Next is adaptive content that is designed with learning alternatives and branching closely tied to the learner's specific interactions with the content. Next is choice. Learners select from among different learning resources and pathways based on their own choices and preferences. Next is personalized messages and notifications, relevant, timely communications tailored to learners' individual activities and needs, appropriate interventions, feedback, guidance, activities, or tasks designed to help individuals progress along with their learning paths. Now, most of these practices are already familiar and valued. This gives us many opportunities to be now, is it? And foster bottom up innovations and weave in more of the benefits of competency based learning while building on the investment we have already made in well designed learning opportunities. So, ladies and gentlemen, what are the benefits to innovating competency based learning within existing workflows? Leverage existing investment and valuable resources. Next, if I talk about it is lower barriers to entry and time to implementation. Next, if I talk about it is avoid costly retrofitting of deeply embedded processes. And next, if I talk about it is encounter fewer regulatory and accreditation complications. Achieve faculty buy-in and engagement by focusing on learning outcomes rather than on disruption. Meet existing faculty, student, and employer expectations because courses and credits are well understood. Continue to transfer courses and credit hours for students moving among institutions and new paths to employment rather than disrupting existing paths. We can take a variety of approaches to focus on learning outcomes throughout our learning ecosystems. Now, as I discuss about the learner centric, the key characteristics, first and foremost, competency based learning focuses on the learner as an individual. It provides opportunities for each individual to develop skills at their own pace, collaborate with others, collect evidence of learning, and become successful lifelong learners. Competency based learning empowers learners to what? Understand the competencies they need to master to achieve their goals, progress through learning processes without time constraints, explore diverse learning opportunities, collaborate in learning activities with communities of peers and mentors, create learning artifacts that represent their own competencies, reflect on their own learning achievements, see what they have mastered, what they still need to accomplish, and where to improve. Develop an online academic identity, including the ability to manage competency and portable evidence of learning from multiple sources. And now, if I want to sum up the second key characteristic, which I talk about, the outcome based. Now, what is it? It is just to develop robust sets of learning outcomes and competencies, reorient curricular design, build high quality shareable, foster authentic assessment, effectively identify risk in students' progress, support transparent analysis, achieve short term. And the last one, which I want to sum up, is differentiated. Now, what does it consist of? Prescriptive diagnostic, affiliation, adaptive, choice, personalized messages, appropriate interventions, and most of these practices are already familiar and valued. Now, once again, benefits of innovating competency based learning within existing workflows. Leverage existing investment and valuable resources. Now, if I talk about this competency based training, now in recent years, a lot has been said and written about the implementation of competency based education. Nevertheless, there is still quite some uncertainty about what competencies are and what competency based education means. When asked whether their teaching is competency based, most teachers only hesitantly answer. In this note, we look at five common questions about competency based education. Now, first question which I want to put up to my audience: what is competency? A competency is an integrated cluster of knowledge, skills, and attitudes. While traditional education mainly emphasized the reproduction of knowledge, in competency based education, also skills and attitudes are of great interest. Now, one of the main features of competency based education is the alignment with the professional reality. Students must be prepared as good as possible for a further labor market. To achieve this, a competency based program not only takes into account domain related competencies but also generic competencies such as communication, teamwork, and self assessment, that is reflection. Now, to train these competencies, learning activities are organized in all forms of project work, group work, or portfolios, for example, and students themselves or externals are asked to give feedback and assess the students' work. Now, how to write learning objectives in competency based education. Now, most of these competencies postgraduate students are expected to develop are characterized by very high demands on the interactions and coordination of a series of high cognitive level skills, knowledge, and appropriate attitudes. So, here it is important to aware of the importance of formulating a general goal first. Writing sole specific learning objectives may have the danger of losing the holistic view of the competencies which a training program wishes students to develop. So, when writing specific learning objectives, it is strongly recommended to avoid writing a list of fragmented objectives without indicating clearly how students should integrate them and perform. Now, if the learning domain is only described in terms of large number of specific objectives, each of which focuses on a rather small learning task, in an aligned education system, naturally, instructional activities are also designed for reaching each of the separate objectives. Now, the pitfall of such an alignment is that the fragmented instructional approach may lead to students' inability to integrate what has been learned in new situations and hence result in a poor transfer of learning. Next, very important question which people generally ask is what is meant by integrated learning approach? Now, in traditional curricula, students are expected to integrate themselves what they have learned into their jobs. Integrating knowledge, skills, and attitudes, however, appears to be one of the most difficult tasks. Integration takes time and often occurs late in all training. Many students have difficulty integrating what they have learned. The best examples of this are the bachelor's or master's thesis project. Students too often get loose knowledge building blocks through their training, but haven't learned how to apply these question themselves in a specific research context with a relevant scientific approach. In competency based education, integration happens during training and from the start. The complexity of the integrated learning approach increases throughout the training. For example, to define a research problem for a given unambiguous case and distill the principles of developing a research question or vice versa, to apply the principles of defining a research problem and formulation of a research question to a more complex case. Now, working progressively over different course components or modules towards the capacity to write critical, well structured research protocols. Next, R, self directing and lifelong learning, not just beautiful ideals, but we are not holding the student's hand too much. This is not what self directed learning means. It's neither the complete abandonment of students, which is meant by self directed and lifelong learning. Within competency based education, what is important is to gradually decrease the support a student gets. In the beginning, they're strongly supported. For example, when the teacher gives the example, how he she gives feedback on an assignment, what aspects are important, what so, then gradually the support is phased out and students are encouraged to do the job themselves by introducing peer feedback or peer assessment. Now, when a training pays attention to lifelong learning, it pays attention to learning to learn. For example, learning to give feedback, learning to assess own performance, learning to plan own work, and learning to work in groups. Now, such competencies are increasingly built into training programs. Last but very important question: should each course component assess competencies? In traditional training courses, the different course components stand on their own, while course components in competency based training strongly build on each other. Now, consider, for example, the development of learning threads. Example, transferable skills in a curriculum or the assessment policy. A competency based approach has an impact on the entire curriculum as course components strongly build on each other. Certain knowledge and skills can be taught separately to become integrated in later course components. Now, where only a few course components take a competency based approach, the impact of and support for this competency based character will be limited. Whether a program is competency based is not a yes or a no question. The degree to which programs offer competency based education definitely can vary. The coordination between course components indeed requires the necessary support, time, and resources, and whatnot. So I guess my all alluring audience, whoever is present over there, I think I am able to put across my point that what is the meaning of this competency based teaching and education with various example and inputs I have tried to build up in my speech, and I believe that I have served the purpose. So I think I am at the end of my speech. So over to Juliet.
Again, thank you so much, Dr. Shelley, for that very wonderful explanation about teaching, shall we say, collaborative learning about teaching. Okay,
Yeah.
so I hope that everyone is enlightened about your topic, and we're very happy that you shared your knowledge and expertise to us with this webinar, and hoping to see you soon in the future webinars that we're going to have, ma'am. Again, ma'am, thank
Thank
you
you
so
so
much
much.
for sharing your time with us and for sharing your knowledge to us. So, at this point, everyone, I want you to remind again to please like, share, and comment in our webinar and share this to your community and friends. So at this time, let's have our quiz competition. First, you can join with our quiz competition in the link given in our comment box, or just log into www.slido.com with the code IGP quiz or the link in the comment box. Okay, so these are the joiners for the quiz. Mr. Dihemreda Kumar Lahare, Eda Mauhay, Olive G. Flores, Christine A. Baulibot, Kathleen Wendy Sabod, Ida Ramirez Martinez, EDF Garcia, Genesis Janessa, Eglantina Shihu, Janes Kachin, Janeline Soriano, Reka Janina Manuela, Mariam Rehan, Normie A. Indres, Marivek V. Clavicilia. So again, you can join us. Just log in to www.slido.com with the code IGP quiz, or you can have the code, scan the code in the screen. And then you can join with our quiz. And don't forget to write your complete name so that you will be recognized and your scores will be um, considered as go. Okay. Lorenza Dagudog, Mayan Brillantes, Cherry D. Kidut. Okay, so there are 144 joiners. We have Joycey Naido, Anna, Shala R. Garcia, Ray Rosette, Cheryline Kaleho Yamaguchi, Desiree Berry, Ariel B. Mabansag, Princess Aura G, Let's Palma, Jude Ayala, Ricky C. Montaño, Maricel Agnas, Evita C. Sagilayan, Cherry D. Kidit. Okay. So again, these are the different joiners for the quiz competition. You can scan the code in the screen so that you can join with us. Or you can click the link in the comment box. Or you can log into www.slido.com. Okay, here we go. Students learn how to work with various types of learners and develop their leadership skills. Is it true or false? Again, students learn how to work with various types of learners and develop their leadership skills. Is it true or false? The correct answer for this question is true. Students. So leading is Ida Mauhay. Collaborative learning is the grouping and pairing of students for the purpose of achieving an academic goal. Is it true or false? Again, collaborative learning is the grouping and pairing of students for the purpose of achieving an academic goal. Is it true or false? The answer is, what would be the correct answer for this question? True. And 99%, Johan Paul de Luna leading for this question. Next, students can develop their leadership skills through collaborative learning. Is it true or false? Again, students can develop their leadership skills through collaborative learning activities. Is it true or false? Okay, the correct answer is true. Again, Dinis Ginto Serso. There are phrases of knowledge construction through this course. Is it true or false? Again, there are two phases of knowledge construction through this course. Is it true or false? There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The correct answer is false. Okay, in CBL, students learn how to work. Okay, John Paul de Luna leading, and followed by Edda Mauhay. And then Ariel B. Mabansag. Again, CBL, students learn how to work with the various types of learners and develop their leadership skills. Is it true or false? In CBL, students learn how to work with various types of learners and develop their leadership skills. Is it true or false? The correct answer is true. Next, okay. John Paul de Luna, leading. Effective questioning involves using questions in the classroom to open conversations. Is it true or false? Effective questioning involves using questions in the classroom, open conversations. The answer is true. John Paul de Luna leading. Questions improve recalling for the lesson. Questions improve recalling for the lesson. Is it true or false? And the answer is true. Leading John Paul de Luna. Higher level questions encourage students to think more deeply and critically. Is it true or false? Higher level questions encourage students to think more deeply and critically. Is it true or false? And the answer is true. John Paul de Luna leading. Effective use of questions provide insight into what our learners think and how and know already. Is it true or false? Again, effective use of questions provide insight into what our learners think and know already. Is it true or false? The answer is true. John Paul de Luna leading again. There are six categories of Bloom's taxonomy of critical thinking skills. Is it true or false? The answer is true. Congratulations to the winners for this quiz competition. The top 10. Top 1 is John Paul de Luna with 10 points. And the time is point. Second, Romel Hernandez. The third is Aurora C. Erges. The fourth is Ariel B. Mabansag. Fifth, we have JC M. Manalo. The sixth is Evelyn B. Waperi. Seventh is Princess May B. Dison. Eighth is Reka Janina Manuela. Ninth is Nuang Laton. Tenth is Kavi Yarasi Ramalingam. They all got 10 points. Until top 21, they got the perfect score. They only differ in time. So from top 1 to top 21 got the perfect score. So congratulations to all the top 10 winners of our quiz competition. And now you can write your questions to in our comment box because we are now in our quiz and our Q&A. So, okay, welcome back with our speakers, Dr. Shelley and Mom Sunga from Philippines and India. Hello, Mom.
Hi,
Okay,
mom.
here is the first question to Ms. Shermine F. Songa. If we look at Bloom's taxonomy, it is intriguing to notice that lots are more suited for individual work, whereas HOTS are more aligned with collaborative work. So, what is the ultimate goal or product of collaborative work? Is it application of new learned knowledge or just creating something new since application and creation aren't the same thing? Yes, mom.
Okay, thank you for that wonderful question from Ferouz Akbarov. Well, regarding your question about the lots and the hats, basically the art of questioning is the springboard of all of the other competency-based learning strategies or instructions. Without the art of questioning, the remaining competency based instructions will be difficult to handle since it is the art of questioning that gives you the or that invites the learners to really focus on what project they are doing, and it is the teacher's manner of questioning that entices and encourages the learners to really grasp and continue and move on and do some inquiries and do some researches about the project or problem that they are working with. So I would say there is nothing new really. However, it has something to do with creativity and innovativeness of the teacher as well, with regards to uh, the 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 learning activity or the learning progress and experiences of the students. Yeah, that's my answer.
Okay, thank you so much, mom. Another question to Dr. Shelley. Provided to diagnostic information of the learner's capabilities, is it possible to predict their competency level towards the end of the academic year in advance, or in language center's case? Is it
Yes.
feasible to predict a student's competency learned 3 to 6 months beforehand?
Thank you so much, Verus Akrobo, for this question. As you have asked, that provided the diagnostic information of the learner's capabilities, now it depends from children to children because no child is same. Each child is unique. Okay, so the learning capability of each and every child is unique, and the question asked is it possible to predict their competency level towards the end of the academic year in advance, or in language centers case it is feasible to predict students competency level 3 6 months beforehand? Yes, I must suggest that if we are talking about the competency based level, so there are areas
Asawa,
where the
nakikita ka.
educators,
Tumalik. Sorry.
yeah, so what I was telling, that there are areas where the educators can work on the competent level of the children on a daily basis. Okay, so daily basis we are working, and then we are taking it to the week, then we are taking to the month, so the progress increase month wise. First, I would like to say that day wise, because I have added something on a particular day, then I've been adding that thing in a week, and then I'm taking over to a month. So a 1 month's progress to the second month's progress to the third month's progress. So I believe all the educators can be able to get the result, I think, between 3 to 6 months, because when we are developing something new, obviously we will be getting the change, we will be getting the output. That doesn't mean that the output, we'll wait for the output for one full academic year, that let's see what is the result which comes after one academic year or one session goes out. No, I strongly feel that if we are working hard with this, if the input is there, obviously output can be generated within 3 to 6 months of the program over there. So need not worry or need not wait till one full academic year, then only the result can be generated. But of course, the prediction beforehand is very much possible. This is my perspective because I've been doing this. Thank you so much, Feroz, for your question.
Okay, another question from Manolita Ramas Oligo for both speakers. What is the focus of competency based questions for learning and competency based training? So let's have it from Mom Sunga. Hello, Mom. Okay. So since Mom Sunga is muted, let's have it first
Sorry, ma'am.
from
Is that me?
Dr. Shelley.
Yeah. See, what I personally feel is that, when we are talking about this, one thing which I want to focus over here is integration. That, this can be possible through integration. Why? Because students are expected to integrate themselves what they have learned. Now various things are there. We have to focus not only to integrate their knowledge, but everything. We need to integrate their skills, we need to integrate their attitude, and we need to do this by offering them difficult tasks. Multitask should be there. For an example, you can even talk about the knowledge building blocks also. You can talk about some other problem also. You can talk about some research based question also. You can give them the, as I discussed in my speech, you can give them the project works from different areas, case studies, project work from different areas. And you can even tell them that how the teachers will gonna assess the work, and that should be possible on a monthly basis. Okay, why the same topic should not be given to the child? There should be a variety. And that is the only say, as the question states, so what is the focus of the competency based question for learning and competency based training? So I believe when everything is integrated as a whole and collaborated between the teacher and the student with the help of the various tasks given to the children, that I suppose, the project or the aim can be fulfilled.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Shelley. Can we have it with Mom Shermin?
Hello, ma'am. Ma'am, can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
We can hear you
Okay, thank
clearly.
you, thank you. Well, for me, the focus would be more on the blended learning and innovation as well, other than what Dr. Shelley has mentioned. It has something to do with how the teacher were able or capable enough to really put into essence all the instruction, all the collaborative or all the competency based instructions necessary in meeting the learning needs of the students. It is important to really uh, to jumpstart with what the learners are capable of, and at the same time what they can learn in times to come. And with that focus in mind, it is the teacher's job, or it is the role of the teacher to be innovative, to be creative, to put into action all the learnings, all the instructions, considering the multiple intelligences of our students, and being the 21st century educator or teacher right now. Given the situation that we are in the pandemic, it is not a hindrance for the teacher to really um, dig deeper the integration, the innovation, as well as the collaboration from among the learners. Even from different places, they can collaborate, they can learn and relearn, they can uh, uh, have wider view, wider perspectives of everything in detail, because every knowledge are at hand, available at hand. Every idea, every learning area, every aspects is available. So the focus is mainly on how the teacher be able to inculcate, to integrate, to encourage the learners to bring out what they can do and what they can be more in the learning field, and to experience much from the teachers assistance or mentoring in their learning avenues. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mom. So from Leonsha Sumikat to both speakers, what are the advantages of CBL over traditional approaches?
Oh, I would want to answer this question because this is a beautiful question spoken by Leonardo Sumiket. Now, see, I think from the last these many years, we had the same curriculum. We were following the sets, curriculum given by CBSE. For an instance, we had the same rote learning given by the NCRT, the same textbooks and everything we were following. Okay, and when we were training the board students for class 12th, I'm basically talking about when they were appearing for the board examination, the standard thing what all the CBSE teachers were doing was to revise the last 10 years board question papers because there was no change. The syllabus was same, the question was same. The only thing was we were picking up the important questions, the questions we were repeated n number of time, the main important parts of their thing, and we were revising them, and we were doing it in the form of, say, a test, an assignment, or something pre-board, and n number of tests, whether it is oral test, written test, what. But as soon as this CBL had come, it has definitely have changed the entire scenario, because now there is new syllabus in the market, there are new books in the market, and there is variety of things, what the teacher also has been exposed. Because suppose if you talk about myself, I am teaching the same thing from the last 21 years, but now even I have to adapt myself for a change, because even I have been given the new pattern, competency based questions, which I have to introduce to my teaching, to my children, to my syllabus. Okay, so that is something which is very different, because see, suppose if I talk about a question paper which consists of 100 marks and 3 hours, so it consisted of long questions, writing section, I'm talking of English reading comprehension. Okay, it had some MCQs, short questions also. But then, writing section, you talk about an advertisement, you talk about a notice, you talk about an invitation, you talk about letter writing, you talk about article writing, you talk about speech writing, you talk about debate writing and report writing. But these were all long questions. When you come to the literature section, except from the poetries and prose, there also you have long extended questions of the novels and the literature based. But now everything is streamlined into competency based questions, and the entire pattern has become of MCQ. Now I think this is quite amazing. I'm really enjoying that for the first time, I am teaching the in the form of MCQ. I am setting a question paper, a 60 marks question paper, 80 marks question paper, but I am including all that long questions in the form of MCQ, and provided each and every concept over there. So obviously, that barrier is broken. Students are also given a new thing to develop. Even they are taking interest, and even they are amazed that how the long question can also be converted into the MCQs. Earlier MCQs were developed only by the poetry or the prose section, or maybe for the reading comprehension, but now each and everything is being developed, and we are trying to pour in different areas so that the monotony is broken, the traditional approach is broken. The traditional approach, moreover, if I talk about, it had that concept of parameterization, cramming. You just cram the long question and you write it down. But now that competency thing has come, you have to think out of the box. You need to understand. You need to catch the keyword. You need to catch the exact what you are going to try to bring into picture. So I think this new thing, the competency based education, which I am talking about, it has certainly added an edge over the traditional approach of the teaching. So I think let me hear what my friend needs to speak on it.
Yes, thank you for that, Dr. Shelly, and thank you for
Yes.
that question, Miss Leoncha Sumikat. But for me, since competency-based education is focused on the learner's competency, I would say it is way, way much advanced. And with regards to its advantage, the CBL is more of a learner-centered teaching. It you cover what the learners needs, what are their competencies. You are more into reaching their level, and at the same time letting them to think outside the box, think how they would think and be, who would they become even as a young person. You push them to be more more of them than becoming more of their teacher. I just hope you're getting my point, because in the traditional approach, it has something to do with basically this is what the teacher knows, is this is, as what Dr. Shelley mentioned, it is the standards way before. So this is what I know as a teacher, you have to do this, you have to do this, this is the for example, solving mathematical equation. This is how I was taught during my years. Now I am sharing this to you students. While in CBL, you can encourage your learners or your student to think of other methods, other ways to solve a particular math problem that would give you the same answer, yet it is much friendly, um, child-centered way, and it boosts the confidence among the students. It is not what the teacher knows, but how the teacher was able to brought out what the learner knows or can perform, can do in the classroom. And regarding the assessment, as mentioned by Dr. Shelley regarding the standard tests, everything, in CBL, you use rubrics. You make use of rubrics or criteria to rate or to assess, to evaluate students' performances. It is not the basic objective type of questions with the standard answers or the fixed answers. Rather, you make use of a rubrics to gauge 100% the deserved evaluation or the assessment, specifically for the output of the learner. Now, with the use of the rubrics, it technically CBL using rubrics has something to do with an activity that is performance based. Hence, it is not a knowledge level performance alone. It has something to do with the student's capability to perform well using his or her uh, resources and ability and competencies, which the student may adapt from his peer, or a type of in what do you call that, something that the learner already has inside that weren't given the chance. With this CBL learning or CBL um, education or training, you are able to um, extract from the learner itself the things he can do, he can perform, he can manage at his own pace, at his own level, depending on his capability, on the competencies, on what he needs, on what he can give, what he can share, what he knows, and everything. So that's why I said a while ago, it is learner centered. It is not the teacher. As mentioned, the teacher is only the facilitator. The teacher is not the teacher inside the classroom. The teacher only leads, only instructs, guides, mentors, facilitates. So overall, CBL is much advantageous than the traditional approach. Yun. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Another question from Mirasol Silaga. Dr. Shelley, in relation to competency based learning, do you believe that high quality standard school produces high quality students and low quality school produces low standard students? Explain why. Thank you, ma'am.
First of all, congratulations to Mirasol Silaga for putting up such a brilliant question. Now suppose if your question says that do you believe that high quality standard school produces high quality students and low quality school produces low standard students, this is absolutely, I will speak absolutely against it. One thing I want to clarify, suppose if you talk about the A class schools, one advantage of A class schools are that they take only the cream in their schools. Whenever we talk about the admissions, they don't give admission to the lower class at all. Now, suppose in India, when I talk about the class 10th results are, declared, only the toppers get admission in the topmost schools, and the below average students are never getting the admissions in those schools, because being in CBSE observer, I am in touch with the results also. So it just happened that since the school has taken the cream, the brilliant ones in their particular school and classes. Obviously, when I talk about the CBSE result, the entire children gets 90 plus. It is 95, 96, 97, 98, 99%, because the school has not given the chance for the average student to be a part of their school. So that is one thing. That is one thing just on the base of the admission, that it somehow happens that the result of a brilliant school is very good in comparison to the others. But now I will again explain it to in a very different contextual parts. Now, suppose if we talk about the private schools and then we talk about the government schools also. Okay, we have this notion that private schools, because of a very good infrastructure, because of the qualified staff, and because of all the facilities and everything, obviously their results should be high. But this is not the true picture. This is not the true picture, because exceptions are also there, in a certain government school where the facilities are not there. But then it depends on the teachers, how dedicated the staff is, how they are teaching to the children, and it also depends on the children. Are they sincere enough? Are they picking up? Do they want to study? And yes, obviously, if they are putting in their efforts, because I am the proof of this, I have even seen, I don't want to name it, but then yes, I have even seen our fourth class employees, sons and daughters, becoming the CAs, they are becoming the doctors, they are becoming the engineers, and people who are high class, rolling in money, businessmen and high class, they are not getting that sufficient result. Maybe 70% or 80%. Money doesn't buy the grades. Money doesn't buy the marks. Money doesn't buy the certificates. Money doesn't buy the degrees. Money can buy you a school, but it is only your efforts. It is an effort of a child,
Right.
that how sincere you are, how dedicated you are, and with less facilities. Do you have that zeal to success in life? Do you have that killer instinct that I want to be the topper and I'll become the topper of the school? And believe me, it happens. Believe me, it happens. So one should not feel that, this is a high quality school, the high quality stuff. So the result of this school will be better, and the low quality school will not have the better result. No, it doesn't matter. But it depends on the, again, I'm using the same word, it depends on the staff, that how the staff is teaching, how dedicated is the staff, how good they are teaching to the children. And then it depends on the children also, that how sincerely they are wrapping up and they are preparing, and then they are generating the results. Because here, even, because in India it happens, the rickshaw puller's daughter, she cracks UPSC examination and becomes an IS officer. Okay, so there are umpteen examples I can give of my country, wherein, because of, even with the poor facilities and the poor things, but children have done immensely well. Okay, so I think I have made justice to what Mirasol Silanga has asked me. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Thank you so much, Mom. Okay, another question from Aigulava. What are the
Okay.
challenges of
Yeah, yeah,
competency-based
yeah,
education
yeah.
in
So welcome,
ESL or
Aigul.
ESL?
Welcome, Aigul, for the question. And the question you have asked is that what are the challenges of competency-based education in ESL and EFL classrooms? Now, yes, obviously the challenges is very very obvious. See, when we know about a fixed syllabus, when we know about the fixed pattern, the studies become very simple, because the child often gets the inputs from the seniors. A junior child often seeks knowledge and inspiration from the senior, that what I'm supposed to do, what work I'm supposed to do, what books I'm supposed to buy, what is the revision. And this is the knowledge which passed from one generation to the other generation, from one batch to the other batch, that this is the set syllabus, this is the book, and this is the curriculum, and this is the thing. So that is a standard thing, the child is exposed to. And this was happening from the last these many years. But ever since this has come, this competency based education has come to the scenario, it has changed everything. Because now
Yes.
standardized things are not there, traditional things are not there, a set approach is not there, because the mindset, it is in the mindset. Yes, I have to do this, this is the only thing needs to be done. So no more efforts. But now The efforts are required because there are so many challenges which has come. You have to integrate your teaching. You have to use the concept of blended learning. You have to collaborate with so many things, now it is not one standardized thing which is there. You have to actually use your mind, you have to actually use all the efforts, you have to utilize the thing. So that thing is there, and I think this is one challenge which has been given. But then also it depends from a child to child, educator to educator, because if you talk about myself, I'm thrilled because being an educator, I'm also getting an opportunity to learn. And very frankly, I say that for learning there is no age. At this time also, I am in love to learn the new concepts because it gives me a momentum in my life. It upbeats me because when I learn something new, then only I will go with that determination to my class to teach it to my children, because then I will be telling my children, yes children, I have the fresh topic for you. This is something new which I will be giving you, because see, from the last 21 years whatever I was teaching, it was on my fingertips. I need not require any textbooks because everything was learned. So without textbooks I was using this. But of course this is a challenge, and I believe that each and everybody should welcome this challenge on a positive note. I talking about first the educators and then the children, and then they should polish their children. They should build a positive momentum in the classroom, that yes, this is something new, and let's try out the new things. Let's bygones be bygones. Why not the concept of the new ideas in the class? Because yes, it if it builds an enthusiasm in me, then I should also build an enthusiasm in my children. Let's give the new concept, and then only the parents also will be impressed. The parents also will feel, yes, the school is teaching something new, the educators are teaching something new, and then we will have the fresh new things which we can give to the world. Because then there will be an innovation in the teaching, innovation in the careers as well. Because as we already say that children are the future of tomorrow, children are the citizens of the world. So once if we try to inbuild some new things to the children, and if the child also will lap up all the challenges boldly and bravely with positive impetus and all, then and then only the child will be ruling the world. And beat it, being an educator, if my child is successful in fulfilling all this challenge, and he or she is success, then I will be the proud educator, because if my child is successful, my child will try to bring a smile on my face. So my child's success is my success. If my child is successful in the world, then I will be the proud educator, and I will love it, because this is the only thing which is required in this noble profession of teaching. Because we don't, I'm not concerned with the money, but I'm concerned with the success of my child. If my children are ruling at the topmost world, and if I am able to make the successful human being of my child along with the studies, if my child is successful, and if I am trying to rope in some moral things also in my child, then I'm successful, and I will be a proud educator. So I think all these challenges should be lapped up in the classes. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Charlie. So let's have it from Ricky Montano. To measure mean, considering the new norms in education nowadays, do you think it's about time to debunk the theories?
Thank you for that question, Sir Ricky Montano. Well, for me, I would rather not debunk but make use of those theories to improve what is existing in the new norms. Because without those theories in the past, we have nothing uh, to help us be creative more in the now. Not necessarily all the theories must be put inside the box and be left unattended. These theories that we learned from before are the most, for me, they are the first and foremost important things we educators were able um, to hold on in the manner we teach, in the how we handle our learners, in the manner how we deliver education. So I would rather not debunk, but I will use those theories as a springboard to cater more of my learners' needs and uh, to be more creative, to be uh, to be a catalyst of change on how these times are calling for a different flavor, a different atmosphere, a different agenda of learning for the teaching, for the effective teaching and learning performance inside and outside, or would rather online and offline uh, environment of my classroom. So I admire the founders of the theories we have before. Without them, I don't think I can uh, tell myself I was or I am a teacher now, because without them and without their theories I will not be able to become who I am now. So I want also the learners of the future generation to really identify with those theories, and from that to step on and build uh, a better learning system for the new generations or future generations. So I will not go for debunking those theories. I hope I suffice your question. So thank you for the
Okay,
question.
thank you so much, Ma'am Shemen Sunga and Dr. Shelley. Both speakers, thank you so much for having you here in our webinar. So it's nice to meet you here, even it's virtual. I am very happy to meet you, Dr. Shelley and Mom Shermin from Philippines and from India. Thank you so much for all your information and knowledge you shared to us,
Thank you.
especially your time also. Thank you again.
Thank you
Okay,
so much, Juliet, and my friend from Philippines for giving me such a warm company. I enjoyed the session, and I enjoyed each and everything what my partner spoke over here. And Juliet, you are a wonderful host. I
yeah,
loved to
Yes.
be a part of IGP.
yeah, thank you
Yes.
so much. Well, happy
Thank
Teachers
you,
Day to both and
IGP.
all the
Yes.
viewers.
Thank you, Juliet, and
Okay?
thank you, Dr. Shelley. Thank you for having me here, IGP. Thank you for sharing knowledge with you, Dr. Shelley. I learned a lot from your
Same
uh,
here. Same here.
from your topic. Thank you, Mom Julie. Thank you for being there with us. You made everything easier. Thank you,
Okay, thank
IGP.
you. Now let's move on to our um, announcement. Our first webinar series program, we have 5-part series. Topic: Authentic Assessment in Teaching and Learning. So we have part 1, it's October 4, 7, 10, and 16. So these are the webinar series about authentic assessment and teaching and learning. Hopefully, you can watch this second webinar series program. We have parts. Topic: Teaching English as foreign language and assessment. Will have it in October 2. The part 1 is already done. So part 2 is tomorrow, October 6th, 3 will be on October 24, and 4 will be on October 24. So that's the second webinar that we have. So our third webinar series, we have digital classroom engagement tools. So that's from October 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. So it's a 5 parts webinar series. Another we have for webinar series certificate, you have to attend all the parts of the series is a must. Meaning, after you're attending the webinar series, you can have a certificate aside from the everyday certificate. Okay, certification process. You can join our all live programs from Facebook group, YouTube channel, and other website. In our website, if anyone missed any program due to some unavoidable issues, still you can attend previous webinars with verified certificates. Another announcement. Okay, on October 5, that's our today's program, competency-based teaching. So here is the certification process. In getting your certificate, certification link is now available in comment box and pinned comments. Certification link will be available always in this program posts, a Facebook page, Facebook group, YouTube, and app description. So you can claim your certificate in two ways. It's either direct link from the comment box pinned in comment or in post description, or if you're not able to click this link, please directly browse to www.edoigp.com for all information together. Find today's program and the process are still the same. So here is the example in getting your certificate. Browse www.edoigp.com or given link and you will be redirected to this page of our website. Click enroll and if you are new, create your account. If you have an account, then log in directly. After that, find the seminar title and get enrolled. So here is the sample on your screen. Okay, here is our code. IGP0505. With this code, you can claim your certificate any time. And take note for this code. And next, you can have a screenshot with this code because you badly need this when you're getting your certificate. Okay, another announcement. Here is the sample. If you are now enrolled, you can have type the code of the certificate and click get your certificate. Next process. Okay, here is the sample. Step 6. Your certificate is now ready. Anytime, you can verify your certificate with a given verification code. Next, our free international webinar certificate is auto-downloadable in PDF file. You don't need to download it manually. Dear participants, if any problem raised or to claim your certificate or any other issues, please don't be hesitate to contact us. Our core team members are always ready in comment section to support you to find solutions. So here is our official IGP community facilitating official team members. Charis Abejo Caberos, Janet Cabao. They are the IGP community facilitating officials team members. If you have any questions, they will be the one to answer it, especially in our Facebook page. We have Cherilyn Yamaguchi, Jonas Molin, Alonso Warren Carriaga in our Facebook group. In our YouTube channel, we also have Kelvin Lenato, Joel Donaog, and Jeffrey Sayag. They are in charge in our YouTube channel. So on October 6th, Teaching English as a Foreign Language and Assessment Part 2. Remember, you need to have the certificate so that you can have the overall certificate for this webinar series. On October 7th, that's Part 3 in authentic assessment in teaching and learning with the speakers from Indonesia and India. Next, please. So on October 8th, strategies and competent-based curriculum. Speakers are from Philippines. And that's 209 webinar. So on October 9, implication of theories of reading of the teaching of reading. That's from Philippines, Dr. Jumter Dicina. So bringing character education in classroom that made 211 morning session with the speakers from Philippines. Authentic assessment and teaching for 4 speakers are from Indonesia. Digital classroom engagement tools in Puzzle on October 11. So this is the first part of the webinar series. So we have digital classroom engagement tools with Kotobi. That's on October 12. So on October 13, that's Google Sites, still from the Philippines. And October 14, still in Philippines. Tools, digital tools with Wakelet. Okay, October 15. And that's the last part of our webinar series entitled Digital Classroom Engagement Tools Overview. And the speakers are coming from the Philippines. Artificial Intelligence in Education, that's on October 16, with the speaker from Oman. So becoming by overcoming from October 17, speakers are coming from United States. Personality traits and technology acceptance, and that will be on October 18. And the speakers are coming from Pakistan. Subconscious mind and success, that's on October 17. Speakers is from Philippines and India. That's October 19, 2021. Subconscious mind and success. October 20. Teaching English as Foreign Language and Assessment Part 3. Speakers are from Indonesia. 21st Century Teaching and Learning Demystified, that's on October 24, 2021. That made 226 webinar that we have. And the speakers are from Indonesia. Teaching English as Foreign Language Assessment Part 4 on October 24, 2021 with the speakers from Indonesia. This is the last part of the webinar series that we have. Part 2. And that is, okay, the process to be a TV trainer. That's from Philippines on October 25, 2021. Okay, part 5 of authentic assessment, that would be on October 26. And then again, the speakers are coming from the Indonesia. Okay, innovative ways to teach research and distance learning. Speakers are coming from Philippines, and that is on October 24. 127, I mean. On October 28, International Political Economy. Speakers coming from the Philippines. On October 29, Work-Life Balance Professionally. Speakers coming from Philippines. On October 30, Different Teaching Modality. Speakers are coming from India. And we have again Dr. Shelley Bisht. On October 31, Gamification, the Future of Distance Learning. Speakers coming from the Philippines. On November 2, Educational Engagement with Brain Boasting. Speakers coming from India. November 4, Importance of Students' Motivation and E-Learning. Speakers are from Malaysia. Okay, again, the code for today's program, Competency-Based Learning, IGP0505. So, you need the code to get your certificate. Please have a screenshot. Okay. To the knowledge seekers, thank you so much for attending this webinar and thank you for your active participation. Hopefully, you learned something new. To the students who are with us, please continue to seek knowledge to hone your skills and abilities. Again, please continue to support IGP. To all the teachers and professors, I am hoping that our topic today adds more knowledge to you all. Remember, you can't give what you don't have, so learn more so you can give more and continue joining us in our future webinars. Please spread information to your friend and community. Again, do not forget to collect your e-certificate and check in with IGP. We hope to see you all again in next webinar. Until then, thank you. Happy Teachers Day again to all teachers out there, especially to our viewers and the knowledge seekers and also the listeners. Stay happy, stay safe. I am your host, Juliet De La Torre from Philippines, signing off. Bye-bye.